Are we started?
Okay, I started. I'm going to check the phone.
All right, let's check and see if we're live.
Looks
And
like we're good.
Looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. This is the Doug and Forrest Show. My name is Doug Petrozelli. My partner in truth here is
Fernando.
And today our topic is UBI.
First of all, welcome to our 10th episode.
Oh, it is our 10th episode. That is a milestone.
It's a big milestone. As of today, we're going to try to start streaming to other platforms like Spotify, maybe iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So you're able to listen to this in the car because I know right now it's a challenge.
Right.
I mean, to keep Instagram open and listen to it. So, and also hopefully we can start doing 30-minute episodes.
We're going to try to do that today.
Yeah, so let's see how it goes. So as Doug said, we're going to talk about UBI. It stands for Universal Basic Income, if you don't know what that is, and you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Universal Basic Income, the concept and the most popular one was the one that Andrew Yang, who was running.
He was a presidential candidate.
He was a presidential candidate. He was running against all the other on a Democratic ticket. That, for anybody who doesn't know, that's the primaries in which Joe Biden won. Andrew Yang was one of the competitors to get the primary for the Democratic seat. But his proposal was UBI, Universal Basic Income. And the idea is that anybody that is a legal adult, so in the United States, that would be 18 years old, you would receive X amount of money just for being a U.S. citizen. And Andrew Yang's proposal was just very generally saying that $1,000 a month, anybody who's 18 years old or up would receive that just indefinitely for the rest of their life. So that was his proposal. That is UBI. So today we're going to discuss if we think this is a good idea, if we think this is a bad idea. What are your thoughts?
I mean, originally when I first heard it, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, how could anybody think that this is going to work, right? I decided to give it come into it with an open mind and just listen to the arguments.
Right.
And I got to say, like, he did present a lot of good arguments, and I have heard a lot of good arguments in favor. But generally speaking, all the arguments I hear in favor of UBI are lacking some key points. Like they're missing some counter arguments that I can present counter arguments to those points that would just break the argument down and it would still land on the scale of it not being a good idea. I think one of the most evident things that we can see is that it's basically being tested right now in Florida. Even though it's not called UBI, essentially that's what it is.
Essentially right now, what do you call it? Our
unemployment.
Our unemployment is extremely generous right now. It's more, there's very many people that are able to make more money sitting at home collecting unemployment than they were to go out and start working for a living. And that's being tested right now, not just here, but I would say in broad swaths of the United States. Yeah. And what are people doing? They're sitting home and doing nothing. And it just turns out when you pay people to sit at home and do nothing, that's what they do.
Exactly. So, maybe we can talk about that a little. I think what we're seeing right now is in Florida, if you don't live in Florida, with the unemployment that's going on right now, it's around $700 a month.
Right.
Which is really high. That's a lot. No, it's $700 a week. Sorry.
Yes. I was
going
to say that
a month is not that much.
I was like, no, it's really
$700 a week, which is more than a lot of people are making. I mean, if you're a waiter or if you're a fast food worker, things like that, that's way more than what you would make. So what we see going on is all these places are short-staffed, and I think we've been going to restaurants and stuff like that. We can't sit down.
Yes.
It's like there are a bunch of open tables, and I'm like, well, why can't you seat us over there? And they're like, oh, well, we're short-staffed. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, just hire more people. Why are you so short-staffed? And I see all of these restaurants have for hire signs.
Right.
And I found out nobody wants to work because they're getting free money.
Right. So if you could sit at home and do nothing, you probably will. One of the biggest things is that we need to shape policy with the understanding that human nature does not change.
Yeah, and one thing that I saw, one of the arguments I heard in favor of UBI is there were these surveys that were done, and they asked people, if you were receiving $1,000 a month, would you still want to work? And most people said yes. So that was an argument in favor of UBI.
Right.
And when you actually test it, it turns out that the answer is no.
Right.
So people don't want to work.
Let's even go into some of those arguments, because the whole idea is that that these people are not working because they will lose this benefit. So what are they getting? $1,400 every 2 weeks, and let's say that these individuals, if they were working, let's just say they would be making $1,000 every 2 weeks. So right now, they would rather collect the government unemployment than work because they're making more money sitting at home and doing nothing. So let's say the argument that they wouldn't lose that money, would they go to work?
Yeah, that would probably change things, right? Like
Right.
if you're getting $1,000 a month, which is a lot less than what unemployment is now.
Right.
But if you're getting $1,000 a month, just a flat base, right?
Right.
And
You'll get it no matter what.
Exactly. Like I do think that a lot of people would still work.
Right.
Because I mean, what are you going to do with all that free time? I think that people would still work to get themselves some more money. I think in general.
And $12,000 a year is also not enough to really do much.
Yeah, exactly. Some people suggest that it should be more than $1,000, but then again, we start to run into the issue we're seeing here in Florida.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to argue that with $1,000 a month flat fee that people would work, like okay, that hasn't been tested, so I could say that all right, fine, that's a valid argument.
Right. So that's a good idea. So let's just do the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not saying I agree with all of these things, but I'm just trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. So let's say you're getting $1,000 a month, no matter what, whether you're working or not working. You're a U.S. citizen that's a legal adult. You're getting $1,000 a month. And let's say the majority of people still work. Let's just give that the benefit of the doubt. Say the majority of people are still going to work. How are we going to pay for that?
Okay, well, assume that you could pay for it. The United States has a gajillion gold mines, and they could just pay for it. We sell it to foreign countries as foreign export, and we can just afford it.
Right.
Which is something.
So we're giving. You're saying as a scenario. Let's say we could afford it.
Yeah. Say it's a scenario we could afford it.
I just want to make sure that that's being communicated. So you're saying let's give it the benefit of the doubt. We have enough money.
Yeah, like
to
Venezuela.
Do that.
Like Venezuela has a ton of gas, and it's just a foreign export. It's a natural resource they have, and they don't have to raise taxes.
Okay.
Right. So let's just say we could do that
without raising taxes.
Yeah, without raising taxes.
That's an idea. So we're just doing that. Okay.
Yeah, so I still see it as a problem. I still think that it would be a problem because if everyone's getting $1,000, now that devalues the dollar, right? So $1,000 is not worth what it once used to be, because the way money works is that money,
supply and demand.
Exactly, money is only worth what people give it, and money is worth work. At the end of the day. Before money, like if I'm gonna give you a sheep, then you're gonna give me a goat.
Right.
These things have value, right? And if we're trading it for work, I'll mow your lawn if you build my house.
Right.
Whatever. The point is that there's work to it, and if now we decide to exchange currency, well, mowing your lawn is worth $1,000 and building your house is worth $50,000.
Right.
We assign some value to it. Now, if you're just getting that money for free, then essentially there's no work to be traded or no property to be traded, nothing of value to be traded. So now that just devalues the dollar.
Right. And so that's the idea. People are saying, oh, we're gonna inflate the currency because there'll be more currency in the market. And I heard an argument say we just can't print up money. And it's more than just printing up money. Let's say we actually had gold. Let's say we actually had enough gold to back every dollar. We don't, by the way, and that's a whole other topic that we need to talk about and discuss at some point about our dollar being backed by gold. Let's say we had enough money to have it all backed by gold. Gold loses its value if the market is flooded with it.
Yeah.
If you just absolutely released, if we found a huge gold mine and we're able to back every U.S. dollar.
If gold grew on trees,
it would be worth nothing.
Exactly.
It's the point that you were making earlier is it takes human effort. What makes things valuable is really how hard it is for human beings to get.
Yeah.
Gold is finite right now. It does not grow on trees.
It's rare.
And not only that, it's hard to get to.
Exactly.
It's not just washing up on the beach.
Exactly.
We have to dig and we have to mine it. We have to have, teams of people and businesses and companies mine it and work and, put a lot of effort into it.
Which is essentially how crypto works, which is a whole other topic.
Right,
but yeah,
right.
it has value because it's hard to attain.
And there's a finite amount of it. There's not going to be, unless we find a huge reserve that we're not aware of.
I don't think the finite amount, I think it adds value to it, but it's not the whole value.
Right.
Because, there's an infinite amount of work, essentially. You don't want to get into the physics of it, but essentially there's an infinite amount of work. So I think most of the value comes from the effort.
Right.
So essentially, if you're giving everyone a base of $1,000,
Right.
well, now since that effort is lacking, there was no effort for that $1,000. Everything, I think companies and every manufacturer, every person that sells labor or products is going to inflate the cost of whatever it is they're selling to account for that $1,000.
Right.
So instead of a gallon of milk costing $3, it would cost $6, and your $1,000 a month becomes nothing. It's like as if you weren't earning it.
Right.
You still have to work for it.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about this then. Let's talk about the idea that we just need wealth redistribution. This is an idea that I completely disagree on. Wealth redistribution. I actually think that that's actually evil to take somebody else's money and give it to somebody else. And if you call it taxation, that does not make it okay. But I do want to be objective here, and I do want to talk about it from an objective standpoint. So let's just say wealth redistribution. We are going to tax from somebody and give to somebody else.
Assuming, so like that's assuming we don't have the natural resources. So in order to pay for UBI, we have to tax people. So that's what you're saying now, right?
Right, well, I'm saying, and this is not inflating anything. This is not finding outrageous amount of gold that we can give to people.
So this
is
would not
printing
inflate
up new dollars. This is actually keeping the same amount of dollars in circulation. We are just transferring wealth from one group of people to another. So let's talk about that.
I think it would still inflate the dollar because again, it comes down to that effort.
Right.
But I don't think it would inflate it as much.
Right.
Because now, in terms of effort, someone's putting in the effort for that dollar.
Right.
So if it's not you putting in the effort for that dollar, some rich billionaire put in the effort for that dollar, so it wouldn't inflate it as much.
Right.
I think it would still inflate it a little just because the masses aren't working for it.
Right.
So someone has to work for it, right?
Right.
So they're just going to charge more. Someone has to work hard for that apple. And if they don't work hard for the apple or whatever it is that they're selling or whatever product, then it's just going to be worth more because there's more demand for it.
Right, right.
So these restaurants, for instance, that aren't able to seat us, I think over time, because they're not getting as much business, they're going to have to charge more for their products. They're going to expect more tip. The burger, instead of costing $10, is going to cost $20.
Right.
Because they're not getting as much customers.
Right. Absolutely. So that's also one. I just want to point out that I do believe it is immoral to do that. And just a lot of the UBI, the proposal originally, I'll say from a lot of people, is to do wealth redistribution.
Yeah, it involves
call it
taxing
higher income people and then giving it to everybody else, even the higher income earner people. My point being is that I don't think that really fixes the problem. Giving people money does not really help, everything that we think it's going to be. I think there's a strong case that we kind of have had a UBI system for almost since the 1960s here in the United States, under when the welfare program was launched, under, I believe it was Lyndon Johnson, and was very clear that he wanted to, LBJ?
Yeah,
yes, Lyndon Baines Johnson. Yes, I can't remember if it was Lyndon Baines Johnson or if it was FDR. It's one of those two, but they're both very much similar in wanting to do, high welfare and social programs and things of that nature. So that being said, there is kind of a UBI that has existed since then, has continued to exist, and exists right now in this nation for people that fall below a certain poverty line.
Yeah, it's just not universal. It's for a specific group of people.
Right. It's for people that find themselves under a lower threshold of income. And one of the things that I find is that we look statistically, there is a lot of people that find themselves generationally in that. And that is something that I find to not be that good. I'm not saying that I think that we should abolish every welfare program. I do want to feed those who are poor. I think that we have enough money to house individuals, and we can always go about that way better. But I don't think that we just say to our poor, hey, fend for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that we need to do something for them, at the same time encouraging people to find themselves in a place where they're going to be self-sustaining and independent.
Well, that leads us to the other side of the coin, right? If you're on the flip side where you think all welfare programs should be abolished, and if you're in homelessness or if you're in poverty, then it's not the government's job to fetch you out of that.
Right.
It's your own job to fetch you out of that. And if people want to be kind and generous, they want to donate to you, then okay, that's a valid train of thought. However, I think that from the perspective of a country and just a society in general, my dad told me this one time. He said that we're at a point in society where humans depend on one another. No one can do everything on their own.
Right.
So society as a whole benefits when everyone is a part of it.
Right.
And people in poverty are not a part of it. They're not a part of it. And I don't mean that they're like useless. I mean they're not contributing to it. And
Right.
if they were contributing to society, society would be better off.
Right.
If everyone in poverty had a job and were contributing to society in that way with their money, they're buying products, and
Right.
they're also providing services, then society is going to benefit. And that's what welfare programs intend to do. They intend to help those people get out of that poverty so that they can get on their feet and start contributing to society. And I think that's a good thing. We should help them because we want society as a whole to benefit.
Right.
Just the problem is when people take advantage of that and stay in poverty and just keep on leeching off the government.
Right. Well, the point being is that there's not a lot of incentive on our current welfare program to be off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of problems that we could discuss with a lot of people that may be on the other side of the aisle, of how we can make it better. The point being is there's no incentive to be off of it and that you could essentially be on it forever, indefinitely, and generationally. And that has created generational poverty.
Yeah.
My concern with a UBI is that you do that, nationwide.
on a grand scale.
And it's not good for the human being, I believe, to be given something for nothing. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's a rich parent just giving to their child. Most people who have money that are good parents make their children work and build their own businesses or get their own job, do their own career. They help them out, yes, but there's still the idea that you have to contribute something.
Yeah, of course.
And that's my concern with a UBI. Given the circumstance that, let's say we can afford it, let's say it wouldn't cause inflation, let's say that it's just pie in the sky idea that wouldn't hurt our dollar or our economy, it's still not good for the human being.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you mentioned, aside from the whole point of welfare, trying to get people to contribute to society and all of that, like you mentioned, it's not good for the human being, and it would cause these problems where people don't work, you don't have people there, and the effort is not provided, so the dollar becomes inflated, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
One of the arguments I heard in favor of UBI is it gives people the chance to pursue an education and to pursue better job opportunities and things like that. And they cited they were talking about things where they did surveys and people were miserable with their jobs. They said, a lot of people are miserable with the jobs. They just show up. They're not happy with what they're doing, and they wish they could pursue their dream. Right. And okay, so let's give them a UBI so that they can pursue their dream and they can get a better education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
That's the idea behind it, right? And it's that argument is failing to realize something. Nobody's dream is to be a fast food worker.
Right.
Nobody. I mean, unless you're SpongeBob, nobody's dream is to be a fast food worker. Nobody's dream is to be a lot of these things that society needs. Like we need fast food workers, and we need certain professions that nobody wants to do. We need plumbers and we need all of those people, mechanics. And even though it's nobody's dream, that's the issue with UBI. I mean, if you're giving people money for doing nothing and they do want to, like now you're giving these opportunities to go to college and
Right.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have the opportunity, but what I'm saying is that train of thought is encouraging everyone to pursue things which could potentially be detrimental to society. I do want everyone to find fulfillment in their career, but the matter of fact is just society doesn't work that way. Someone's going to have to do those things, and hopefully it's temporarily until they find something better, and then the next generation comes along and takes over those jobs. But somebody has to do it, just realistically speaking.
Right, and even getting to that point, let's just say the argument, and this is going a little off topic, and I'm going to get a little capitalist on you, which I know you're okay with. But one of the things is, let's say I am working in a fast food industry, and let's say I want to go to college, and let's say I want to take advantage of this, and because I have the UBI, I can do that. And let's say I'll be able to afford even where I can live. What's going to happen to the price of college if all this money is now flooded the market? Prices skyrocket. The fact that we have student loans, I mean, this has already even happened with that argument. The fact that student loans are so readily available for people to take, this is the reason that student loans are so freaking sky high.
Yeah, because the prices of college just keeps going up.
Government solutions to things are always, let's put more money into it. And when you put more money into it and you flood the market with money, prices go up. I think the government needs to get out of it. and allow the free market to take care of things. And I think that individuals need to fight for their dream. What's my dream? My dream is to do this. I want to do this full time. And guess what? I am working every day. I have a full-time job. You have a full-time job. And the hope is that maybe one day that this does become something that we get to do.
But if you're being encouraged to only do this and not do what you're currently doing, then who's going to do what you're currently doing?
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's no one's dream to do what you're doing.
No, I mean, I like what I do, and it's a great job. But I mean, I think that.
But your dream is to do this.
Yes, this is the dream.
And if everyone wants to do this, then who's going to do that?
Exactly, and those jobs need to get done. And I'm very happy with my job. I have a great career. I have no complaints about it. But it isn't my dream. My dream is to write. My dream is to study politics, economics, and to take these ideas and influence the world. And guess what? I'm doing that. And maybe one day we'll be able to do this full time.
Exactly.
And we'll have our own studio and things like that.
I think that's what it needs to be. It needs to be a tremendous amount of effort on your part to get your dream.
Right.
If your dream is given to you, then everyone does their dream and no one does the hard jobs.
Right.
So right now, the dream should only be awarded to those people that work really hard for it. And in society, there are just people that aren't willing to do that.
Right.
And I think that's what keeps society alive. When you were talking about... Actually, let me touch on something on this point. I'm just going to get a little philosophical here. I think that when you're given your dream, eventually your dream becomes something else. And this is just on the personal human level.
Okay.
I remember my dream was to become an animator for Pixar, right? And it wasn't realistic at the time because of the college I would have to go to, and also I didn't want to move to California.
Who would?
No, if you're from California, there's no offense. I didn't want to move to California, not because of political reasons, but because I wanted to be close to my family. So my dad encouraged me to pursue computer science. I fell in love with it. I love computer science, and I have a great career right now in computer science. But I would still like to do animation, and that's my hobby. That's what I spend most of my free time doing.
Right.
But I know that if that's what I was doing, I'd want to do something else. I'd want to, be a professional baseball player or something because I wouldn't want to be meeting all these deadlines and working with clients. And that happens to everyone, even YouTube celebrities.
Right.
They're like, oh, man, I don't want to do this anymore. Professional athletes are like, man, I want to be at home with my family. Singers are like, man, I'm tired of being on tour. That happens to everyone. Everyone who's awarded their dream, they're happy with what they got, but they wish they were doing something else.
Right.
So that's just a little side note there.
Right, and I even think that the drive that it pushes me, this is obviously something I care about, something that we care about. This is after hours. We've worked have worked all day today, and we're coming and we're doing this. Mm-hmm. And it's because we love it, because there's something. And there does take a sacrifice, and there does take an effort. And I do believe that if I don't take care of this, if we don't take care of this now, we're damn sure not going to take care of it if it was given to us.
Exactly.
But we will take care of it because we would know if this does become something special, which I do believe it will, that we're definitely going to take care of it because we knew what it took to make that happen. To study these topics while we're working a full-time job, to make time in the afternoon to put this together, to air it, to promote it, to get people excited about it. That takes effort. And when we get to the other side where we're, becomes a little bit more easier, we're going to value it a lot more because it wasn't handed to us. The human being cannot handle something being given to him and put it with the same value as something that they worked for.
Yeah, it's the fact that we had to work for it, and that's something that UBI takes away.
Right.
You were mentioning earlier about like the prices of college skyrocketing, and that's something I definitely saw 10 years ago when I wanted to go to the University of Miami. Tuition, like yearly tuition, was $33,000.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And now, 11 years later, I just looked it up. The cost of tuition at the University of Miami is $51,930, and that was in the year of 2019 and 2020. So it's probably higher now. That just goes to show you, in 10 years, it almost, not quite doubled, but
another third.
Yeah, more. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that it went up by. Because when you give people things, there's no effort for it.
Right.
In this case, with loans, there is effort, but the effort is later, so it inflates.
Right.
So what was once worth something is no longer worth anything, so the inflation has to occur.
Right. And the student loans are basically guaranteed. I'm for private student loans. I'm not for federally backed student loans, which incentivizes a private company to say, I'm just going to give everyone a loan that wants it because I know it's backed by the federal government. and that these loans are going to get paid back one way or another.
Exactly.
That's not good because that's the same thing, inflating the market. That's the same idea as UBI. Things will skyrocket. Things will go up.
Yeah.
Just do a final thing, because I do want to try to keep us under a half an hour, which I
Yeah, we're
think
doing great.
doing pretty good. I want to kind of talk about Andrew Yang specifically, his idea, because he is deeply concerned about something, and this is just for us to be a little bit more centered, because this is something I'm a little concerned about, is innovation. Innovation, throughout history, innovation has put jobs out of existence. But with that, we've always produced more jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it was a telephone operator that doesn't exist anymore. We've innovated our way out of that. There's a lot of jobs that are no longer there, but we've made more jobs that have picked up from that. So when innovation is going at the same rate or close to the same rate of job creation, it's fine, it's good. So the concern right now is with the innovation of automation. And that is concerning because that has the potential to put a lot of people out of work, bam, all at once. That is concerning. This is the case that he's making. And, it is kind of a strong case because he said, well, what do we do with all these people? We need to put some money in their pockets to create, some type of stimulation of the economy to get things going and get things moving. I really think that's a bad long-term idea because I think it's the same idea as, the welfare programs. If there's no incentive to get off, you're going to get this no matter what. You're more than likely going to get stuck in it. But I do want to talk about real quick this idea that what's going to happen if, we're looking at any driving industry. The trucking industry is 12% of our employment, our U.S. employment.
Wow.
That's very, very more than likely going to be automated in the next 15 years, if not sooner. The technology exists. Right now, it's more about legislating, allowing that technology to, go interstates and stuff like that. That's 12% that could be gone tomorrow. Fast food industries, most factory jobs have kind of already gotten that place of automation. These are all good things because it will bring the price of goods and services down. But the point is that it's too much at one time.
You're saying it's too fast. The
Right,
rate of automation is faster than the rate of job creation, which
Right.
is going to put people out of jobs.
Right. And so it's like you don't want to wake up one morning in 10 years, 15 years from now, which we're still going to be relatively younger people.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a 45% unemployment rate. What do we do at that moment?
That's tough. To tell you
Right.
the truth, I don't know. I didn't study for this. I don't know.
Right. I don't have the answers either. This was a compelling argument, and I want to be objective and share both sides.
Yeah. I think the most we can do is encourage people, especially young people in school, to start pursuing careers in the future.
Right.
Right. That's something that was encouraged to me when I was in school. Working in computer sciences right now is where it's headed, right?
Right.
So if you're the guy writing the automation programs, you're not going to be out of work.
Right.
But if you're the guy that's going to be replaced by automation programs, then you are going to be out of work.
Right.
So if you're in school, then I would encourage you to do some research, Google some things, and find what the big jobs of the future are. What are the jobs of tomorrow? And find the one that interests you the most and pursue that in your field. When you go to college, that's what you should be looking for.
Right.
And if there's nothing that's like your dream, work is work.
Right.
Find the one that interests you the most. It might not be like your dream of being Madonna or whatever,
Right.
or being an MLB star. Work is work. You got to
Right.
go to work, put in your time, put in your hours, and then go home. It's only 8 hours.
Right.
And then just enjoy the other 16 hours you have.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I would encourage people to do, and I think that as a society we should encourage people to pursue the jobs of tomorrow.
Right. And I agree fully with that. So the one thing that I felt okay, it's hard to say because I just know it's not good for the human being to receive something for nothing. But his case that he was making is, where are we going to get the money from? And he was saying that we're going to tax the technology that is automation.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That was going to be the idea where businesses still get to keep their businesses. It's not confiscated by the government. There's just a extra tax on automation because it's taking away jobs. And I get that to a point. And I get that maybe, I don't want to be like, we don't need a UBI when we have 45% unemployment. I mean, something has to be done.
But even if you're giving people the money to get out of, even if you're giving people the money to make a living, right? So you have 45% unemployment. You're giving them money. That doesn't solve the employment issue.
Right.
They're still not contributing to society because they still don't have a job. They need
Right.
to get the jobs of tomorrow, which is what I'm saying now. Encourages the young people to
Right.
do that. So that generation, by the time we get there, they have jobs. They have job security.
Right.
But yeah, no. The truth is, I don't know. It's a scary thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing is that I always felt, their idea of this was that, if and this even goes into the Communist Manifesto, so this is why it's kind of scary that it's aligning. I'm not saying Andrew Yang is a communist, but some of his thinking is definitely out of the Communist Manifesto, where that if everyone's provided for, then people are going to spend all their spare time working on art, and there'll just be all this beautiful art that'll be produced. And the point is, if that was true, people in poverty in America would be just producing outrageous amounts of art, and that's not true. People that are on our welfare programs would just be producing all this art. It's
But
like
even if it was true, who's going to take care of all the other stuff?
Right,
You
right.
know?
And so my whole thing is that my biggest encouragement is that we're moving into the computer science age for sure, and I think hospitality and entertainment. Nobody wants to, there'll always be people who want to be served by a human being, as far as hospitality goes, and there will always be people who want to be entertained by other human beings. So I think that those are great avenues, and as automation comes, which it is coming, the prices of a lot of things are going to go down. You'll be able to, I believe, make it in those industries, even if you don't become a superstar. Because I know right now those are very difficult industries to make it in. But as the prices of things come down, I mean, you're even going into houses. There's robots that are building houses, which is incredible because you can build way more houses. And the more houses there are, that's the whole other beauty of inflating the market. With houses, what that will drop the prices of houses and make it more affordable. These are good things. And that's kind of my heart behind it. So I think, after talking about this, after studying this, I'm a no-go for UBI.
Yeah, same here. I think after the whole idea of taxing the technology at first glance sounds good.
Right.
I don't know any counter arguments. I haven't looked into that.
Right.
And that might fix it, but it still wouldn't fix the poverty issue and the unemployment issue.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give the no to that UBI as well. From my perspective, if you have any counter arguments that you feel like we could go back and forth on, we're out of time, so just feel free to DM us.
Yeah.
And keep a lookout on our profiles for the links to the Spotify and Twitter and all the other platforms so that you can listen to these in your car. I'd say that this whole episode 10 here would wrap up our first season, I guess, if you want to call it that.
We have a whole season now.
And yeah, you can listen to all 10 in the car or whatever, so just keep an eye out for that, and we're going to be posting that very soon. But yeah, let's wrap it up here at 32 minutes.
Awesome. So please reach out to us if you have any ideas for the show. If you'd like to be on the show, we'd love to have you. So, it's a great show. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.